Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the InterSim Esports Network once again for your Sunday night for what will be round 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. Your location tonight is the virtual Kansas Motor Speedway for what will see the guys tackle 134 laps. My name's Aidan Schultz. Joining me in the booth this evening, as always, for the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries is Ryan Barber. Good evening to you, Ryan.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Ed.
Did I just hear a little bit of a profanity on the broadcast, mate? So a good start tonight.
Sorry.
But good evening to you, mate. Looking forward to a sensational night of racing here for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries from Kansas Motor Speedway. 134 laps tonight. They're 28 minutes or nearly 29 minutes through the 30-minute qualifying session at the moment. Troy Davidson at the top, Gary Wellman second, Todd Maxfield third. So those Simboys racing cars very strong, as we've become accustomed to see here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries through this practice session and here at round number 2. So Simboys racing 1, 2, 3 in practice so far, as we're a minute away from qualifying.
Yeah, they've been doing really well, especially last race where they did get the 1, 2, 3, if I'm correct. So we'll see whether they do this tonight or not, but it's definitely possible. They are a big team and they do really well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The Australian Supercar eSeries, of course, I've mentioned about 3 occasions already, brought to you by My Private Seller. It's all about tyre wear and managing the car. So you'll see it's a strategy game here at the Australasian Supercar eSeries. It's not about flat out pace. It's about being able to manage the car over long stints and to be able to put your car in a position to be able to fight for that win at the end, which some people like, some people don't. But you've got to think while you're behind the wheel of the race car as well. So that is an interesting play here. And being Kansas, you can see it's going to be, I'd suggest, a midline track for the race. You'll see him through qualifying as Gary Wellman gets up into the wall there at the end of the practice session. You're going to see them go low through the qualifying session and for their fast laps, but they're going to come up to that mid-track and really try save that outside tyre. But we go into the qualifying session, ladies and gentlemen, here for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. Who's going to take the provisional poll early on this one? Will it be the Simboys cars? We're on board with Brett Campbell, showing a bit of love in his Lightning McQueen entry. And see how Brett goes. Brett actually comes off a solid result last week. He blew his tyre with a couple of laps to go, but he was on for a inside the top 10 finish, if not a top 5 there, Ryan. So Brett Campbell, a nice solid start to his campaign this season.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty well lately, especially sneaking himself into the top 10. So we'll see if he does this tonight. But yeah, he's an awesome driver, and we can definitely see his improvements and how well he's been driving.
Yeah, good driver and top bloke. He's based out of Townsville in Queensland. As we go on board with the 022 of Nicholas Walsh, he's running the Simboys racing livery as well. So Nicholas Walsh, another one across to the Simboys stable for season 3 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. So we'll see how Nicholas Walsh goes here in the qualifying session, see if he can put the 022 to the point of this one. Brett Campbell's just gone to the point with a 31.60, but now the times are coming in quick and far. So no point us really saying the times at the moment. You can see your timing there on the left-hand side, the Sim Racing Edge leaderboard there on the left-hand side. And as quick as I talk, they completely changed. But Troy Davidson is at the top with a 31 flat. Darren McKenzie, Southern Stars Esports Racing, there with a 31.07. But have a look at how close those times are here for the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. It's nothing we're not used to, mate, here in the Supercar around ovals. As Andy Barber, your old man, has just jumped up. It looks like he's finished his qualifying session, and not the qualifying session he would have wanted, sitting down in 8th spot at the moment as we go on board with Scott Rankin.
Yeah, not the best qualifying, but it's a solid qualifying, and all these drivers have been pushing hard to get a good time in. So it's definitely a tight field tonight. So everyone's going to be racing as clean as they can, and of course conserving those tyres like last week.
100%. We just see Ruben Phelps from New Zealand jump up to the top with an identical time from Aaron Dillon there. So 30.99 each. So we'll see whether Aaron Dillon and Ruben Phelps can better their times this time across the strike. We'll see. Aaron Dillon's just gone past. He couldn't go any better, and neither could Ruben Phelps. So a 30.99 at the moment is the miracle or magical marker. And I tell you, have a look at that. 30.99 there is a Talio paper. Tommy Pritchard from Southern Stars Esports Racing in fourth. We'll see whether he can better his time for his second time lap tonight. And he goes across with a 31.18. So he's not going to go any better, and he's going to start at best fourth position with a 31.03. Ryan.
Yeah, still a good qualifying for Tom there. Ruben Phelps definitely surprised me being out in pole. He's been beaten by Barry Neal. So yeah, we're on board with Kay Donnelly, and we'll see if he can get the Simboys entry back up into the top 5.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll come across the start-finish line now. We'll see where Kay Donnelly will start, and it looks like he'll start at a P number 7 with the best of 31.04. But Barry Neal, as you just mentioned, did put the Aotearoa car up into the provisional pole, 30.97. So Barry Neal has come out swinging tonight, and he wants to show the boys, I'm here to race. So Barry Neal at the moment will start off the provisional pole. We've still got a minute left in qualifying, or just under. We'll see where our man Paul Jackson is at the moment, the Intersim Esports Network guru. He's currently out on track, so he's leaving his lap late. So we'll see where Paul Jackson ends up in this qualifying session. The man that's usually behind the cameras and in the broadcast booth, he's jumped out in the car for this season, and he comes off a solid P4 result for round number 1. We'll see whether he can back that up tonight with a nice solid result here at Kansas Motor Speedway. So Paul Jackson just coming out of turn number 3 and 4. He'll come across the strike. We'll see where he puts the 2-3-1 Aotearoa car up in the qualifying session, and that's going to move him up into 15th position. He doesn't have enough time to do another lap, so Paul Jackson will be starting deep in the field for round number 2.
Yeah, just couldn't get that second lap in, but it was a pretty solid run, ultimately getting 15th place. So we'll see what happens in the race. We know he's a good driver, and he's definitely a good blocker. So
yeah, he is. But let's go through your starting order when they do come up on screen for round number 2 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Of course, brought to you by My Private Seller. It will be Barry Neal out of New Zealand off the pole with an all New Zealand Kiwi front row of Ruben Phelps. Aaron Dillon out of P number 3, and Troy Davidson out of P number 4 with a Simboys Racing 3 and 4. Tom Pritchard, Southern Stars Esports Racing, and Darren McKenzie, Southern Stars Esports Racing out of 5 and 6. Kay Donnelly from the Simboys Racing out of 7. Scott Rankin out of 8. Gary Wellman from Simboys in 9th. And Christopher Finlay, Simboys in 10th. The Simboys really strong in this one. Justin Witcher from Pinnacle Esports Racing in 11th. And Raymond Yeager, Pinnacle Esports, will start out of the 12th position tonight. In the 13th position will be DPR, Simrigs.com of Stephen Williams. 14th position will be Todd Maxfield from Simboys Racing as well. Paul Jackson says into Sim Esports Network from Aotearoa Racing in 15th. Greg Spencer, Pinnacle Esports in 16th. Adam Malone, Southern Stars Esports Racing in 17th. And Kobe Jordan out of the 18th position. In 19th position from Southern Stars Esports Racing will be Andy Garber, and Brett Campbell will round out your 20. Out of 21st from Ray White Rule Gander will be Pete Matson. Out of 22 from Midline Sim Racing will be none other than the Blake Urquhart. Out of 23rd will be Philip Howe and Nigel Payton from Pinnacle Esports Racing out of 24th as we go across the page. Into 25th position tonight will be Aaron Bryan with the 26th position, Tristan Koch. Out of 27th, Nicholas Walsh. Jai Schultz from Midline Sim Racing in 28th. John Class out of 29th. And Ash Nessa will start out of your 30th position tonight. So that's your 30 starters tonight, Ryan. A nice big field here for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. I tell you what, it's not how we're going to see them in the first couple of laps where they start off off their qualifying positions. But we know it's all about tyre wear, so expect guys to drop back maybe early, some guys to come up to the front early. We do have some insights with drivers we've spoken to earlier, possibly wanting to lead from the front for a couple of laps. But we know 134 laps, who we're speaking about at the pole at the moment, and that being Barry Neal. It's not necessarily the way this is going to pan out as we get to lap 134.
Yeah, the starting order is not gonna, obviously not gonna start, not gonna finish. All these drivers will need to conserve their fuel, both their fuel and their tyres, and work on the strategy to get to the final 20 laps. Like I said last time, that's always the plan for who I've spoken to. That's what they said is all the plan. So we'll see what happens here. Will it be Barry Neal or Ruben Phelps that gets out in the lead, or could it be one of those Sim Boys drivers in the second row? We don't know yet.
100% time will tell, but we're about to go green here for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. We are green. The all New Zealand front row, Barry Neal gets a good jump down on the inside line over Ruben Phelps as they make their way into turn number 1 and 2 for the first time tonight. It looks like Troy Davidson has got a good jump there out of P number 4, but he's going to have Aaron Dillon on the inside of him, and he's going to get the position done up the back straight at the moment. But nice clean start by all the drivers here tonight. Have a look at those pictures here on the Sydney Sports Network. They're 2-3 wide into turns number 3 and 4 for the first time tonight at Kansas Motor Speedway. Barry Neal with a nice jump there, and Troy Davidson has really taken off from Ruben Phelps there, and the front two have had gapped the field after the first lap here early on. They're looking at running this one really quick, really early, as we're 2-3 wide for the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th position. We can see Raymond Yeagers in the background there as well. Ruben Phelps right down on the inside, so don't know what Ruben's doing there. He's trying to back off. So Ruben has obviously realised tyre wear, and I'm going to play the tyre strategy. So very interesting by Ruben there. Ryan is dropped right back to the 13th position after starting on the outside of that front row, and have a look at that gaggle of cars as they make their way into 3 and 4 for the 3rd time tonight.
Yes, definitely something that I didn't expect. I expected him to sit out in the front and try and battle with Barry Neal. So yeah, at the moment it's Troy Davidson in the lead with Barry Neal in second. So everyone's going to start playing the strategies now and work with their teammates to see what's the best strategy to do.
We'll see, but we're on board with Crystal Finlay. So Simboys Racing, or the Simboys Racing entry is very quick here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries around any track, whether it be the road version or the oval. This series for season number 3 rather. No road course configurations, all ovals here for the guys. So the Simboys Racing entry is very, very quick. He's following Cade Donnelly. Cade Donnelly's been the hard luck story for the first 2 seasons of the Australasian Supercar eSeries. He's been the bridesmaid, and he has been, I think, 3rd once as well. So he's been a little bit of the hard luck story, always very quick, hasn't quite got the championship win done yet. We know that belongs to Justin Witcher, who's currently sitting in the 13th position. So Justin Witcher is your reigning champion and back-to-back champion. He's going for 3 in a row. Bit of a tough start for season number 3 for Justin last week. Didn't get the W, didn't get to talk to us here in the broadcast booth, but no doubt that will change as the series does go on, because the class of Justin Witcher is not a 2-time champion for no reason. So no doubt we'll be talking to him here in the broadcast booth. He has a different livery again. He's running the plain black livery. So he's usually running the Pinnacle Esports, but running the plain black. He is part of the Pinnacle Esports racing team. He's just running a bit of a sleeper livery this season, Ryan, which is a little bit interesting as he nearly gets up into Scotty Rankin there on the outside of 3 and 4 as they navigate their way into the 8th lap here, or 7th lap here, for the Australasian Supercar eSeries from Kansas. So on board with Scott Rankin, you can see Justin Witcher's got the job done there on Cade Donnelly as well. So Justin Witcher wanting to move forward in this one. He started out of 11th position, he's up into 9th, but I tell you what, the moves of the night, just look a couple of cars up. Philip Howe, he's up into the 7th position, started out of number 23, if you don't mind. So 23rd position for Philip Howe off the start, and he's moved his way up into P7 early on in this one, Ryan. But we all know, is it too hard, too early? Time will tell.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking just then. Is he using his tyres up too much, or is he using them just enough so he will get to the end when he changes his set of tyres? I'm not too sure how many sets of tyres they'll have over the wall tonight, but definitely the strategy will play difficult tonight, as we've seen previously.
Yeah, well, I can definitely confirm to you there, Ryan. It's very good that you brought up the tyres over the wall. They will have one set. One set they'll be able to take over the wall, and they'll have to double stint one, because it will be a 2-stop race tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are tuning in here on the InterSim Esports Network, across our platforms of Facebook or YouTube, of course, all the cameras being done by none other than the man from LR Esports, Peter Gretton. What amazing images here to allow Paul Jackson to race. But Philip Howe now making it 3 wide into turns number 1 and 2, and he's really wanting to get this job done. He's going to get that job done on Raymond Yeager and Darren McKenzie and move his way up into the 3rd position. So Philip Howe very racy early on in this one. But yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that segue there, Ryan, but saved me from going under the bus. But it's been great racing so far by everyone. What I can see though, I don't know, we were on board with Barry Neal just a lap or 2 ago at the front as he's trying to hold off Troy Davidson. You can see them just up in the foreground there. Barry Neal running a really, really high line early in this one. So they've already gone into tyre strategy or tyre conservation mode. And that's what Barry Neal is doing in the 22 Aotearoa Racing entry out of New Zealand at the front of the motor race at the moment. Philip Howe's not in that mode though, as you see him make the move on Troy Davidson into 2nd position. Philip Howe wanting to take the lead of the motor race. He's going to do that as they make their way down into turn number 1 and 2 for the 12th time tonight. You'll see him clear. Oh, big accident in the background. We can see something in the background. Scott Rankin's on the mic. Not sure what happened there. We're not under yellow at the moment either. So don't know what happened there. We'll keep on board with Darren McKenzie and just keep following the action as it speaks at the moment. But Barry Neal leading the motor race. But look, Darren McKenzie did a good job there from what I saw there, Ryan. He was very close to that little bit of an instant as they're nearly 4 wide in the foreground for the first 4 positions here for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. So not sure what happened there, Brian, but very close to having a really big incident. But all the drivers got away scot-free, and we are still green, and it's play on.
Yeah, hopefully he caught the car and not too many people were damaged or anything like that. So it does look like everything's fine, and yeah, we're only 15 laps in as we're coming across the line now to go into lap 15 if I'm correct. But yeah, these guys still have 110 laps to go, so they definitely have to play their strategy, watch their tyres, and yeah, try and stay as clean as possible.
Yeah, 100% they do. I'm going to disconnect for a second, Ryan, so don't stress. I just need to refresh my screen and take the viewers through a lap here of Kansas Motor Speedway. I'll let you do the commentary, and I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Alright guys, so we're watching Nigel Patton at the moment as we are obviously at Kansas Motor Speedway, and this is going through turn 1 and 2. Yep, I'm correct. And so, yep, they're going down the back straight there. Yeah, I'm really bad at this, I'm sorry, but they'll be holding the tyres, they'll be drafting.
Yeah, thanks for covering me there, Ryan. I just need to refresh my screen, but it still is Justin Witcher now making his way to the point. So just a couple of laps ago, Justin Witcher was in the 10th position of this motor race, and now he's taken the leads. Justin Witcher, your reigning champion and 2-time champion, is in the lead, but then Barry Neal just getting the job done around the outside into turns number 3 and 4. Philip Howe still looking racy there on the inside line, so he wants to use his tyres early as Darren McKenzie getting right up behind the car in front of him there, and that was Justin Witcher. So these guys have a little bit of history too, ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in on the Indosim Esports Network. Justin Witcher and Darren McKenzie, they don't mind banging a few panels here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and they're getting racy early as Darren McKenzie trying to make his way forward. Justin now still just sitting on that inside line, being a little bit of a pest there for Barry Neal. Darren McKenzie sitting on the outside, just trying to get the draft there on Barry Neal, but he's decided now it's my time to make a move and drop to the inside line and try and get the job done. He's going to go right around the outside of Philip Howard to 1 and 2, or at least try and get that job done. Looks like the 02 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry has a lot of pace there in the Mishes XL Garage sponsored car, and he's going to take the lead into 3 and 4. Will Philip Howe be able to hold him out on the inside line as they make their way onto the main straight for the 18th time tonight? And it looks like he won't be able to get that job done, but Philip Howe, he's looking racy in this one. He's been one that's made a few mistakes in the couple of series that we've seen and never really had a solid result, with no disrespect to Philip Howe there. But doing a good job up there in P2 at the moment. Not sure whether the low line running that hard this early is the way to go, but we'll see how that plays out for Philip. But good to see him up there in the podium positions at the moment, albeit 19 to 134 run.
Yeah, the strategies are definitely playing here. Darren McKenzie just takes the lead of the motor race with Philip Howe in second and Barry Neal in third. We do have to keep an eye on Justin Witcher though. He'll be hungry for a race win, as he's not won a race this season so far. He is a defending two-time champion, and so there's no reason why he couldn't get himself up there, get himself some nice points, and try and get a third crack at this championship.
Yeah, well, he started the championship quite well, didn't get the win or the result he would have wanted in round number 1, but we all know you've got to show up every week and have a really, really solid result. And Justin Witcher's no stranger to that, as he is the two-time and reigning champion here of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. Sarah K. Yesberg joining into the chat on Facebook. Good evening to you, Sarah. She asked how many tyre changes have the boys got up their sleeves tonight. We can answer that. It is one over the wall, Sarah. So they get one set of tyres. So it will be a two-stopper. They'll have to double stint a set of tyres tonight. And it's going to be tyre strategy and fuel strategy 101. Kansas Motor Speedway can be a little bit rough on those tyres, especially on that inside line in the supercar. We know they like to eat the right-hand front very, very quickly. So you can see a lot of the drivers as we're on board with Raymond Yeager, your round number 1 winner and league owner there in the 11th position. They're running the high line. They're really trying to save that tyre. Who's going to want to be able to manage the car and run lower for those couple of laps, get those positions, and then position their car back up onto the outside line and try and save the tyres. So the 91 there of Tom Pritchard, different number there by Tom Pritchard there, Ryan from Southern Stars Esports Racing, usually runs the 06 maybe, am I correct? I'm not sure what number he runs, but it's not usually the 91, and he's running the 91 here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries.
Yeah, that's correct. He's definitely looking racy tonight, sitting in the 12th position, so he'll be trying to get the best result he can possibly at the moment. Have noticed that there is a bit of a scrape down the side of his car, so he won't be very happy about that. But yeah, he's just having a bit of a race with Ruben Phelps there, looking at your left. And so, yeah, Ruben's sitting in the 12th position after starting in P2, so he'll definitely be trying to save those tyres and get to the end.
Yeah, and you mentioned Ruben, and I can put Tom Pritchard in the same realm as that. Tom Pritchard started out of the 4th position off the 2nd row, and these two drivers have just dropped themselves back into the field at the moment and settling themselves in, ready for what is a long 134 lap race and playing the long game here, not willing to battle at the front and go, righto guys, you can go and sort it out at the front and have a little bit of fun, because we're just going to sit back here and we're going to play the long game and we're going to try out strategize you. So Ruben Phelps and Tom Pritchard that we can see there on your screen just drop back outside of the top 10, but don't be surprised if we're talking about the 0691 of Ruben Phelps and Tom Pritchard as we get into the money laps here late on for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by My Private Seller. But we're on board now with Scott Rankin. Let's jump on board with him inside his car. This is battles here at Kansas for the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. We'll be quiet for 2 or 3 laps. Turn up your volume and have a listen to an Australasian Supercar here around Kansas Motor Speedway. There we have it, Ryan. A couple of laps around Kansas Motor Speedway, on board with none other than the Indy Autosports entry of Scotty Rankin in number 15. How good are those images here on the IndySim Esports Network? And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is what it looks like behind the wheel of a supercar around an oval, and not traditionally a car that is built for an oval, but I tell you what, it creates some sensational racing.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it's not a car that you see often on ovals, but they're definitely racing it hard, and the car definitely gives us a good show and a good broadcast to watch, as it's brought to you by Sydney Sports Network and with Peter Groden behind the cameras. We're just looking at Aaron Bryant, who is sitting in 7th position from the starting position. So these drivers are about halfway through their tyre stints at the moment. I do expect to see some pit stops soon, but the tyre strategy lap critical is around lap 67 for them to be able to jump on those new tyres and make it all the way to lap 134.
Yeah, that is the critical lap. I'm not sure whether they're going to get 67 on 75% fuel, but one notable drop in the standings at the moment. We did mention Philip Howe. He's in pit lane right now. Philip Howe did start this race and was at the point, and he was running really, really hard, and we were worried about his tyres, and I reckon that has got the better of him because he's now in pit lane, only 33 into 134. If he's in there getting some tyres at the moment, he's got 101 laps to run on a set of tyres. So Philip Howe, if you're watching the broadcast back, mate, maybe something to bring out of this one, just cruise it down a little bit, because ran a little bit hard early in this one as he was fighting for the lead of the motor race. But back to Brett Campbell. This is the story of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Brett Campbell got a top 10 in the first one, or just outside the top 10. Should have got a top 10, but blew the outside front. He's absolutely killing it. He's doing a lot better than what he's been doing. He's been putting a lot of work in behind the wheel there in his sim rig, and it's showing here tonight. He's moved his way up into P number 3 in that famous Lightning McQueen entry. But I tell you what, Brett Campbell, Ryan, as we go 3 wide, and looks like Todd Maxfield wanting to get the job done into 3 and 4. But Brett Campbell, how's his driving come along? He is fighting for the lead of this one, albeit early on. We haven't spoken about it earlier in the broadcast. We're now 35. Oh, as Brett nearly gets into the inside of Darren McKenzie there, and we've just thrown him under the bus, and we're going to go caution. I feel terrible. Oh my God, we're just talking up Brett Campbell, and then we have the incident, and we're going to go caution for the first time tonight, Ryan.
Yeah, you definitely threw him under the bus there, but doesn't look like there's been too much damage to his Lightning McQueen car. So these drivers will want to come into the pit lane. They won't put any tyres on, they'll just fill up. And yeah, all the drivers that just hit the wall would be grabbing their fast spares as we're having a look at the replay here. They are 3 wide. With Brett Campbell in the middle, either side of... not sure.
Darren McKenzie there, mate. And I think that was Brian maybe on the inside. And that's Barry Neal up into the outside. And that's Justin Witcher into the wall. So Justin Witcher, your reigning champion and 2-time champion, absolutely out of this one. That's all she wrote for the 21 of Justin Witcher. Good evening to you, Kylie Rocks. What, tuning in, watching on silent with subtitles. Distracted though, I bet you are. You've got one driving, you've got one commentating. So how's that for you, Ryan? As the drivers make their way into pit lane this time around, we'll see who decides to take tyres and who doesn't. We'll know that when we go back green. But one person being your mother tuning in, watching and supporting your father, Andy, who's in the motor race currently in 18th, and obviously your mother and you here commentating, mate. So a nice family affair here for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries.
Yeah, it's awesome sitting in front of the screen here commentating and have my dad racing in the background and my mum watching both. So I'm pretty happy that the 3/4 of the Barber family are either racing or crew chiefing. So yeah, definitely a proud son.
Well, as the drivers make their way out of pit lane, Kylie, I need to just make a little bit of a shout-out mention to you on the broadcast and say I've got the banana socks ready to go. They're at hand. So, Kylie, my Christmas present from the Barber family, my, what do you call them, banana socks. I've got them ready to go and throw bananas out the back of the cars ready to sabotage. So not sure how that will happen virtually yet, but I'll figure that out. We've still got another 97 or 99 laps, I think. I can't even count. So we've got that amount of laps left. And I've got plenty of banana socks ready to go to try help these guys out if we need to go Mario Kart. But we don't need to go Mario Kart because it is the best oval supercar league in the land, and it is the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries, and it will be led by none other than Todd Maxfield when we come across and go green flag racing for the second time tonight.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's taking tyres if the pit stop times are correct. So not sure. It does look like it does look like Brett Campbell's down in the 21st position, still in the pit lane. His stop was 59 second pit time as he's just coming to his box. So hopefully there's not too much damage on his car, and hopefully he can get his car back up to where he was before, and he can have a solid race tonight.
Well, while we're under caution, let's take this opportunity to jump up and have a chat with Brett Campbell. I'm not sure whether the pace lights are off the safety car. I think they are, so we might have to just hold that. Okay, we're about to go green, so we'll just hold that for a minute, and Scott Rankin and Todd Maxfield will bring us to the green here for the second time tonight. Todd Maxfield taking us off the green on the inside line. We're green here for the second time for the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries, and it will be Todd Maxfield and Scott Rankin leading us into turn number 1 and 2 for the 39th time tonight. 39th time of asking of 134, and Scott Rankin getting a good run around the outside. And as per usual here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, we'll go 2 wide into turn 3 and 4. And Scott Rankin getting a good run on the outside there. But Todd Maxfield, we haven't spoken about him all night. He's just sat in the background managing those tyres, and he's come up to the front, and he thinks it's money time at the moment, but Scott Rankin will lead as we make the way across the start-finish line. Nigel Payton making the run up the inside here through turn number 1 and 2 under Darren McKenzie and Aaron Bryan. So Pinnacle Esports of Nigel Payton looking racy, moving himself up into the fourth position. But look out for the 0-2 there of Darren McKenzie from Southern Stars Esports Racing on the outside line. He's been racy in this one. He's been up the front. He started mid-pack. He moved up the front, dropped back, and now he's moving back up the front again. So don't be surprised if we see him make his way up to the point in this one, as Todd Maxfield took the lead of the motor race, and then Aaron Dillon from Simboys Racing out of Tasmania. Aaron Dillon decides it's his turn to run at the front, and he does so. Good evening to you, Emma Parcell. Good evening to you, darling. Thank you for tuning in. I'm not even going to reference that comment on Facebook, and I'm going to leave that right there. So Aaron Dillon just leading the way, but Aaron Dillon out of Tasmania. Simboys, most of the guys out of Tasmania, some in Melbourne and Victoria as well. Aaron Dillon will be looking for a good, solid run tonight. He was the inaugural champion of the Australasian Supercar eSeries as Nigel Payton makes a run up the inside, down the back straight here at Kansas Motor Speedway. Aaron Dillon was the inaugural champion before it was the Australasian Supercar eSeries, not the first two series he would have wanted for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, but no surprise to see Aaron Dillon moving his way up into this one. He's got his teammate Christopher Finlay there on the inside, and teammate of Todd Maxfield. B, my man B, we call each other B and A, Blake Urquhart from Midline Sim Racing up into the 4th position now. You can see him in the blue car on the inside line. I had the pleasure of running with Josh Wilson, his teammate, in a Bathurst 1000 today, and what a pleasure that was, and a bit of fun. I actually finished one, Ryan, God, but we finished in 7th position in that one, so that was good. But the midline sim racing entry of Blake Urquhart moving his way up through the field, but as we're going 3 wide into 1 and 2, Nigel Payton says, nah, I'm out. Unless he's put his pit lane speed limiter on there, by the looks of it, his lights were flashing, so I don't think he said I'm out. I think he hit his pit lane speed limiter there because he went backwards like he was shot out of a gun backwards. But Blake Urquhart really running hard, and these drivers 3 wide in turns 3 and 4 here at Kansas. What a show of racing here by all the drivers, Ryan.
Yeah, all these drivers are racing hard, and they're doing an awesome job, and yeah, seeing them all 2 and 3 wide, and they're racing hard, and they're racing like they don't have a fast car up their sleeves. So yeah, it's definitely Simboys is dominating the top spots there. So hopefully we can see some other teams like such as Blake Urquhart and John Schultz and Darren McKenzie to come interrupt their team affair and try and get on the podium for tonight. So it is a good race, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, it is, and we do mention Blake Urquhart and Jai Schultz, and it's not because we know all the drivers personally in the Australasian Supercar eSeries. We've done plenty of broadcasting and plenty of commentary, commentating about all these guys. But the good thing is with the midline sim racing guys, Blake Urquhart, and he's had look at that stunning photo of the man there on your screens. But it's good to see some different drivers here in the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and it just goes to show how strong it is and how many people want to be a part of it. So we've got likes of Blake Urquhart, Jai Schultz. We've got other drivers which are new to the series this season as well, and some that have done the odd race. But with a chock full field of nearly 30 cars tonight, it just goes to show how strong the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries is. And if anyone wants to get a part of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries, and they are on the iRacing platform, jump across and send the guys a league application, and I'm sure they will let you in and come and have a race with some of the best supercar oval drivers in the land, let alone, well, it is Australia, New Zealand and America. There are drivers from all 3 nationalities here tonight, or every week. So jump in and be a part of it. If you aren't a part of iRacing and you are tuning in to the InterSim Esports Network, it's really simple to get involved in. Go buy yourself a PC, get yourself a steering wheel and pedals. You don't need the best of the best as some guys have. You can go down to JB Hi-Fi or whatever and get your basic pedal and steering wheel set. Get yourself a TV monitor or a computer screen and get yourself a PC. Join iRacing, iRacing.com. Just Google that, iRacing.com. Get yourself a subscription, just about $100 Australian a year, and you can be racing. Just like these guys on your screen here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries here on the Indosim Esports Network. And it is Darren McKenzie still leading the way now over Todd Maxfield, Christopher Finlay, Aaron Dillon, Paul Jackson, if you don't mind, Blocker, the man PJ, the man behind Indosim Esports Network from the cameras. He's jumped out and he's racing, and Afiata Racing, the 231 of Paul Jackson, now decided it's go time, and I'm moving my way up through the field, and he's going to make a move on Christopher Finlay and get into the third position as we see Brett Campbell there, just trying to get out of the guy's way after being up the front early in this one. He's had a bit of damage and he's going to make it. It's a night he'll want to forget there from Brett Campbell after being solid early in this one. But Paul Jackson up into third spot. So Paul Jackson coming off a fourth place finish at round number 1, now up into the podium positions, albeit 51 into 134, Ryan.
Yeah, it's definitely something different when we see Paul up there, especially on the Australasian Supercar eSeries, as he is usually behind the cameras. So we do have Darren McKenzie, Todd Maxfield, and of course Paul Jackson in the top 3. These guys are pretty close to when they're going to change their tyres. So yep, they're racing hard, racing fair, and yep, well, hopefully there's a caution later on and some of the back markers can catch up and have a shot at the finish.
Well, there's a long way to go, mate. We saw that in round number 1. We didn't talk to the likes of Gary Wellman, Troy Davidson, of the likes for much of the race round number 1, and we saw them come away with a 1-2-3 lockout. So definitely a lot that is left to play out as Jai Schultz is on the inside there of Adam Malone. As we're on board with Adam Malone, you can see Jai Schultz. He's got that distinct livery on the supercar. It's like a NASCAR livery with the size of that number 27, the Casey Stoner number 27. And he's just watching what the guys are doing in front of him at the moment, going up to that outside line. There's Blake Urquhart on the inside of him as well. So Blake's going to want to make his way up to the outside of the racetrack and try and not ruin his tyres. But it looks like Blake, after trying to fight for the lead of this motor race, he's just a sitting duck there on the inside at the moment, just waiting for his time to be able to get a position to be able to drop up into that outside line. Have a look at who's ranging up in the background there, Ryan. Pete Matson coming off nearly a podium for round number 1. Ray White Rural gained an entry. Have a look at that livery, sponsor of the series, as they make their way through 3 and 4. Pete Matson, he's been making leaps and gains here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Nearly got a podium for round number 1. With a tyre wear issue there for most drivers, but he's now moved his way up into the 16th position, just sitting there nice and quietly, hasn't had any incidents so far, and he's put the Ray White Rural Gander number 173 in a good position as we are 55 into 134.
Yeah, Peter's a really good driver, and he's been there or thereabouts for the past season and two, so yeah. And looks like he's been working his strategy out really well, and he definitely shows that he can get himself up into those top positions.
Yeah, he most definitely does. But let's take the opportunity. Let's go and have a chat to someone. I'll go down the pit lane, Ryan. You keep calling. Oh, as Jai Schultz is into the wall, that's not going to help the 27 midline sim racing entry. That's going to give him a big lick up the outside of that car. So I'm just going to go down the pit lane. I'm going to do a bit of a pit lane walk, Ryan, if you just want to take over the commentary. And I'm going to go and see if I can find one of the drivers and see if I can bring him up here into the broadcast booth and have a chat to him while we're live.
All right, everyone. So we're watching the Raymond Yeager in the 6th position at the moment. These drivers are racing really well. As Darren McKenzie is leading and Paul Jackson is in 2nd. So we are watching a bit of a battle here with Scott Rankin, Todd Maxfield, Raymond Yeager, Christopher Finlay, and Aaron Dillon. So these guys are definitely having a shot at it as they're racing pretty hard and clean, and they're pretty close to each other. So anything can happen here. They've been pretty close to some contact. So.
Well, I'm back here, Ryan, and I've just gone down and done a little bit of a walk through pit lane. It's funny that I come across this bloke because he's actually on track, so not sure how I come across him in pit lane, but we've brought up the 06 of Ruben Phelps out of New Zealand, currently in the 11th position. Ruben Phelps, good evening to you, mate. Started on the outside of the front row. It is a tyre strategy game here. And, mate, how's your race going so far?
Yeah, I know I went to the back at the start of this race, but it was all strategic for sure. So, but at the moment, it actually turns out there's a bit of a fuel game at the moment too. There's about 0.6 less than you need to be. So you got to make it to a critical point to be able to make it on one stop. Otherwise, you might see a bit of a few guys drop out at the end.
Well, how are you looking fuel-wise? You got Davo, Troy Davison from Simboys Racing, just sitting in behind you at the moment. Blake Urquhart, you've got the job done on him. Newer entry into the Australasian Supercar eSeries. How are you sitting at the moment? We did see you drop back, like you did mention. You started off the outside of the front row and really dropped back into the sort of midfield after about 2 or 3 laps, seeing how this race was going to pan out early. How are you going fuel-wise? Like you said, 0.6, a little bit short at the moment. Is now your time that you're just thinking to try and get that 0.6 back and get to the end with that one extra stop, or are you going to try and go hard and hope that people run out and you can get that extra stop?
Yeah, at the moment I'm just trying to get to that critical point right now with the fuel. Of course, trying to be careful as well on my tyres and stuff and save that for the end, but most of all at the moment is the fuel. That's the main situation for me right now.
Well, mate, while we're on board with you, just a little bit of a personal note, mate, a good friend of mine, ex-teammates, I know Aussie Esports no longer, but which was a sad time, but you know, that happened for whatever. But mate, how are you going, mate, personal-wise? Things through the sim? What do you got planned in the 2022 season? I know you're going to have your sights set on Anscar, a very, very solid oval racer, mate. And I know you've been doing a lot of road stuff as well. So what's Ruben Phelps's sim racing career look like into 2022?
Well, I have been approached, and as of today, me, Brad Ellison, that is, who's usually in the NASCAR stuff, Tristan Koch, who's obviously comes with us from the Aussie eSport,
yep.
And Jamie Nankervis. There's setting up a team called Momentum Esports, and we'll be running that as a team of the Anscar side. And on the Weekend Warriors side, we're a part of another crew, but it's called Goodyear Waiera.
Goodyear Auto Care Arana.
That's the one, yes, that one, yes. I haven't got used to that one yet, but that's for the Weekend Warriors side of things. So 2 teams for the Anscars. You'll see me in a custom die-cast paint scheme with Brad, Jamie, and Tristan.
No, well, that's good news, mate. It's really good to see that you boys are keeping rolling on there after, you know, the Aussie Esports didn't fold because anyone wanted it to fold, but good to see you guys still pushing on and having a great time with your sim racing, and I hope to see you guys at the pointy end in every race you do, and you're a sensational bunch of blokes, and Ruben Phelps from New Zealand, mate, we'll let you go back up. You're in 12th position at the moment. Hopefully we're talking to you at the end of the broadcast in the broadcast booth, but Ruben Phelps in the 06 from New Zealand, thanks for your time tonight, mate, and we'll let you get back to it.
Yep, thanks.
Well, there we go, Ryan. A bit of insight on the driver as they are live. Ruben Phelps out of New Zealand, and a little bit of a drop there on some new team changes there from the 06 Ruben Phelps.
Yeah, it's definitely shifted team from the Aussie Esports to, honestly, I forgot what he just said with those teams, but it's very good for him and Tristan and Brad Elliston, if I'm correct, if that's what he said. But yeah, he's a fantastic racer, both on the oval and the circuit, so it's great seeing him transition from team to team and doing really well at it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it's like when people do change teams here on the iRacing platform, and it's not necessarily about people not getting along. It's not that at all. It's it takes a lot of work to run a team, Ryan, and you can get a bit of an insight because your dad runs the team that I race for, and I moved across from Aussie Esports, not because I left Aussie Esports, because Aussie Esports is no longer. It takes a lot of work to run an iRacing team, and sometimes people with real life stuff, you just run out of time. So give the viewers a little bit of an insight of what you see on the daily and what it takes to run the team. And that team we talk about is the Southern Stars Esports Racing team. And the man we're on board with at the moment, Darren McKenzie, is one of the teammates leading the way at the moment in the 02. So give the viewers a little bit of an insight into what it's like running in a racing team on the iRacing platform.
Yeah, running a team is never easy, but it does show that drivers such as my dad there, as we're looking at him on the track, they have real life commitment also, but then they also commit a lot to the iRacing platform and other drivers that are ready to compete. So there's a lot of strategy involved in when the teams are talking, and they discuss the strategies and they discuss how they're going to work progressing in the race and how they're going to tackle the race. So what I've seen is he puts a lot of hard work in. Of course, he designs all the liveries for the Southern Stars Esports team also. So he does an amazing job, works hard at it, and I'm very proud of him for all the commitments that he does towards the team. So it's never easy, but if you are interested to start your own team, guys, it is definitely a challenge, but it's also a blessing.
It's a bit like when you're a manager at work. You don't manage people, you manage personalities, don't you, Ryan? So, yeah. And there are a couple of different personalities, and then there's one that we're on board with at the moment that I need to say is a massive personality, and that is no other than one-hand Tom Pritchard from Southern Stars Esports Racing out of Sydney in New South Wales. What an absolute personality Mr. Tom Pritchard has. But I tell you what, it is great fun. And guys, if you are tuning in on the Indocimity Sports Network and you want to get a part of iRacing, it is fun. They are all a great bunch of drivers. And we say that drivers, we're not going to say men, because they're drivers. There are a lot of ladies on the iRacing platform, and we would love to see a lot more of them and race around, because I tell you what, some of them could absolutely give these boys a little bit of a run for their money. And if not a run for their money, absolutely beat them, because we see some really, really good drivers on the iRacing platform. But I tell you what, let's focus on the race. It's getting really racy at the front now. We're on board with Raymond Yeager. This is for the fourth position. One, two, and three of Darren McKenzie, Scott Rankin have sort of just bolted up the road at the minute, but the battle for third is on at the moment with Adam Malone trying to get the job done on the inside of Raymond Yeager through turns number 3 and 4. And that's none other than Blocker Jackson, Paul Blocker Jackson on the inside behind Adam Malone. He's still sitting up there. Oh, as we're nearly 3 wide down the front straight here at Kansas Motor Speedway. He's just sitting there, just biding his time. So Paul Jackson, after coming off a 4th place position for round number 1, he's put his car in a really good position to have a nice solid result here again tonight. And I tell you what, all I've heard in my ear for the last 2 series is, I need to be racing this, I'm going to win it. I need to be racing this, I need to win it. I was good and round in the first ever season, and I was laughing it off thinking, no, Paul, nothing, nah. And he's showing us something different, because he's doing a great job here and moving himself up into the side of the top 5, coming off the top 5 finish for round number 1. And albeit we're only 76 laps into, or 78 laps into 134, he's in a good position in this one, Ryan.
Yeah, it definitely shows me how it's done. He's sitting in 6th position.
Well, that's not hard, mate. That's not hard.
Yeah,
come on, let's be honest.
That's not difficult to do. But yeah, it's definitely a quick driver, and he shows that he not only is a weapon behind the scenes with the camera work he's done, but he's also a weapon as a driver. So he's definitely a personality, and you know that.
Well, that's enough about Paul, because he's not going to get out his front door tomorrow when he watches this broadcast back. So let's move across from Paul, because, no, joking. But no, he is. He's above all a great bloke and doing a great job driving here. And you can just tell by the quality of his driving in behind Todd Maxfield at the moment. He does it. That's Aaron Dillon in behind him. That outside line is starting to come in again though, Ryan. We saw that early in the earlier stints that they run low early, and Adam Malone's just getting stuck there on the inside line, and I'm not liking it for Adam at the moment. If he can't just move up onto that outside line, this is really going to hurt him as this stint plays out.
Yeah, he would. I think he would be at the moment trying to get himself up onto the high line, but there are cars just sitting up there. So at this point of the race, whoever has the people that haven't taken tyres at the moment, they're pretty good at the moment. So there's nothing really to worry about. They'll be stretching their tyres out as long as possible. Like Ruben mentioned, they'll also be being really careful on their fuel, trying to get that one more stop done as Adam Malone is side by side with Raymond Yeager and actually passes him under the bottom of the circuit. So he's definitely looking racy, and they're getting a bit close there. So
yeah, Raymond Yeager not happy to have that move made, and no sooner does Adam Malone pass him through turn number 3 and 4, he just repays the favour down the main straight into turn number 1 and 2 and says, there you go, Adam, whatever you can do, I can do better. But I tell you what, we're on board with Raymond Yeager. He is the winner of season number 3, round number 1 last week. As Paul Jackson getting really racy in the background. Let's just take a moment to catch our breath. 81 into 134. Let's go on board with the 23 Pinnacle Esports Racing entry of Raymond Yeager. Turn up the volume and have a listen to the 23 Pinnacle Esports Racing entry and enjoy a couple of laps around Kansas Motor Speedway. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's a couple of laps around Kansas Motor Speedway on board with the 23 Pinnacle Esports Racing entry of Raymond Yeager. Adam Malone still right up in behind him there, as you can see on your screens. You can see Paul Jackson back there in 4th position. They've gapped this little battle you can see on the screens. That involves Aaron Dillon, Christopher Finlay, and one hand Tom Pritchard. We call him one hand. It's not after 9 o'clock yet, so we probably cannot explain why we call him one hand, but Tom Pritchard doing a great job there as well. And Scott Rankin into pit lane now, Ryan, with 85 into 134. So Scott Rankin, the first one to blink, coming into pit lane under green conditions.
yeah, there's been a few drivers that actually have gone through the pit lane. So at the moment, it's Adam Malone and Paul Jackson sitting first and second as Paul Jackson actually sneaks himself up into the first position there, so it's pretty close, so they'll be trying to steal a point. Yep, Paul Jackson and looks like
Raymond Yeager in the pit lane as well. So now we're seeing the green flag pit stops start to come out. Adam Malone's now going to take the lead of the motor race. So Adam Malone, he saved a lap or two of fuel, and he's got a nice little gap now, about 1.5 seconds on this battle you see on your screen of Christopher Finlay. And Christopher Finlay is now coming into pit lane. You can see his name lighting up on your screen. That's him letting the drivers know that he's coming into pit lane. So Christopher Finlay, Adam Malone just in front of him as well, is coming into pit lane as well. Nicholas Walsh must be as well, because you see him light up on your screens as well. and Ruben Phelps. Phelpsy, as we just spoke to just a couple of minutes earlier. So now it's a little bit of a frenzy in the pit lane. Adam Malone, Christopher Finlay, Nicholas Walsh, Stephen Williams, Ruben Phelps, Blake Urquhart, the B in pit lane, Raymond Yeager, Paul Jackson, Tristan Koch, Ash Nessa, Gary Wellman. So the green flag pit stops are coming. Brett Campbell tuning in on the Indosim Esports Network. He says he's in the pits. Mate, I'm looking for you in the Discord. I'd love to have a chat with you if we can, but I can't. Oh, no, I can see you in the Discord now. So how about, as the drivers now come and serve their pit stop under green conditions, let's bring Brett Campbell, the man who had a really solid round in round number 1. Unfortunate night tonight and in pit lane. How about we bring Brett Campbell up into the broadcast booth, have a chat to him as we are 88 into 134. So we bring the man up into the booth himself. Brett Campbell, mate, in the 015. You got a copy first and foremost, mate?
Yeah, mate, go ahead.
Mate, unfortunate night for you. I tell you what, the 015, we call you the Lightning McQueen because you're the Lightning McQueen entry. Round number one, a little bit of a synopsis around number 1. Up the front for a lot of it. Finished just outside the top 10 after blowing a front tyre with about 2 or 3 laps to go. So not the way you wanted to finish it, but a really, really solid round number 1. Came into round number 2 and nice solid run there as well. You're fighting for actually the lead of the motor race. And I was mentioning to Ryan, you obviously put a lot of work into your sim racing. I follow you a lot. Obviously, we're mates and talk a lot outside of it. But you've been putting a lot of work into your sim racing and we've seen the difference in level. And you're fighting for the lead. And it just didn't really go your way with a little bit of an incident there with Barry Neal. But it's a little bit of a night that what could have been. But in good Brett Campbell fashion, still out there trooping, cutting some laps, mate, and trying to get those championship points.
Yeah, mate, I don't know that it was all Barry's fault. I had a bit of a tank flap, or I had a bit of a chance to have a look at the replay. I was sort of trying to make sure that I had enough room for Barry and whoever was inside me. I don't know who was inside me at the time. I think it was the 016. I clipped Darren a little bit on the back corner. So, yeah, I don't know whether it was Barry's fault, mate, or whether it was mine at the moment.
Well, it's not a matter of whose fault at the moment, mate. It's all about you and how you're going through your sim racing endeavours. We've had a little bit of a chat. Obviously, you're my ex-teammate for Aussie Esports. As you're just trying to let a couple of guys go here, so don't get distracted there and just get into your groove. Mate, Aussie Esports no more, unfortunately. Ruben Phelps has moved on with Tristo into another team doing their thing. And how's it look for your sim racing into 2022 for Brett Campbell? What's on the sights for Brett Campbell as we've just got guys trying to make their way past you here down to the 3 and 4 at Kansas?
Yeah, mate, I'm going to be doing as a privateer in the Global iRacing Leagues of the Indy Cars. Possibly going to be doing NASCAR in the trucks. Weekend Warriors, I'm actually part of a team with Ruben, Tristan, and I can't even think of the other guy's name at the moment. No, not Jamie. Somebody else. I can't. At the top of my head, I can't think of it. For Goodyear Auto Cawarana. And Jamie, Tristan, Ruben, and myself will be tackling Bathurst 12 hour next week.
Ah, nice. Well, we'll be doing that as well, mate. So good to see you back in the 12 hour or doing your endurance racing. I know how much you like your endurance racing, as we see Darren McKenzie just trying to get past you at the moment. So Darren, the one that you had a little bit of an incident with earlier. So we'll just let you go and concentrate on that for a little bit as you're 3 wide, mate. But mate, we look forward to seeing you in the 12 hour. Good to see you, Tristan and Rubes, having a run. Hopefully we're in the same split and we can have a run together. It was an absolute pleasure doing the Suzuka 10 hour, which was actually the first endurance race you got to do, mate. And I had the pleasure of doing it with you. So look forward to seeing how you go in the 12 hour.
Yeah, mate, hopefully it's going to be a good race. Been doing a bit of practice, had a bit of a gear upgrade as well. So, I mean, it's only minor, just some springs in the pedals. But yeah, hoping that it's going to do me a world of good.
Well, hopefully you do, mate. You don't have Debore in your ear, mate. So sorry, you don't have Debore this time, but we'll see how you go. I don't know how I got knighted with Debore, but I'll take it.
No problem, buddy.
All right, mate. We'll jump you back up into your race channel, and we wish you all the best tonight. Just let us know what race channel you want to go into. I'll put you up into race channel 1 with Jamie and Ruben.
No worries, thanks, bud.
Thanks, mate. Best of luck. Well, there you go, Ryan. A bit of an insight into the man of Brett Campbell in the 015. But Adam Malone in the 4th position. So they've all come through pit lane. Adam Malone sitting about 7 seconds off the back of 2nd place of Scott Rankin. But have a look at who's leading the motor race, Ryan. You're going to be happy with this one. And it's none other than the 02 of DMAC, Darren McKenzie, out of South Australia. And he's leading the way now by 6.7 seconds over Scott Rankin.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. Definitely happy with my teammate, Darren McKenzie, and also Scott Rankin's actually having a really nice, solid result. So he was hunting for the championship last time, and ultimately it was given by no other than Justin Witcher, who's sitting. Not sure where he's sitting at the moment, but definitely Darren and Scott and Raymond are on another level at the moment. So Adam Malone sitting in the 4th position will be chasing down that 3rd position of Raymond Yeager to try and get a Southern Stars podium.
Yeah, and Scott Rankin, I'll do a shout out to Scott Rankin, absolute gentleman of the iRacing community. He's the one that supplies all the IndyCar setups for the global iRacing leagues, which has been a really, really good league from an Indy perspective. So Scott Rankin we're on board with now, the man behind all the setups for the Indy cars. But this just goes to show the quality of driver he is. He does the setups for the Indy cars in the open wheel, and he's actually, I think he's the reigning champion, or he's was up there somewhere. Like, he's an absolute weapon in the Indy car, and he actually won, I think, round number 2 of the IndyCar series, and had a bit of a struggle last week out at the road course, but to be able to then jump across into the supercar at Oval, it just goes to show the calibre of driver.
Yeah, he definitely knows what he's doing, and yeah, he's an awesome driver, awesome bloke, and yeah, he's very nice to race against, and he's always there to help, and he's like a dictionary for IndyCar, so he's awesome.
Yeah, he is. He definitely takes his racing seriously, and has a lot of wealth of knowledge there in the 1.5 of Scott Rankin. So he's doing good. He represents Indy Autosport and doing a great job, and he's currently in the 2nd position. He's slowly getting that gap down on Darren McKenzie. It's now under 7 seconds at 6.5 seconds. He's getting a little bit of help there by Raymond Yeager, with Adam Malone about 1.8 seconds off the back of this battle just in the background. I'll go down into pit lane, and I'll see if I'll be the pit lane reporter, even though they're not in pit lane, and see if I can bring up another driver and have a little bit of a chat here as we've now gone 101 into 134. We're about to come to the pointy end here for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. If you are tuning in here on the IndySim Esports Network, don't change your dial. Don't go watch anything else, because it's about to get loud, and we're about to crown the winner of round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. But in saying that, we'll move none other than your second time out. I'll call him a debutant, but second time out for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. And we're on board with him now, Jai Schultz, up here into the broadcast booth. Schultzy, it's another Schultzy in the booth, mate. I know you're hot in battle, and I know you wouldn't mind me bringing you up into the broadcast booth, mate. So you got a copy?
Yeah, mate, I do.
Mate, Supercar's been the name of the game today. Come off a Bathurst 1000 today. Then in a little bit of a dirt race today in preparation for the Sky Point Dirt Oval Series, and then you back it out again tonight with the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Second time out here for the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. You and Blake from Midline Sim Racing led from the front in round number 1 and learnt what not to do. How are you going tonight, mate?
Yeah, tonight's strategy, that first pace car really helped both me and Blake. We had very minimal tyre wear on that first stop. And then even with the second stop, when we've done our last one down, I was sort of 35% tyres, so big learning curve from last week.
Well, you're inside the top 10 at the moment. You've got Aaron Bryan in there behind you. We'll just have a chat to you, though, about your exploits today, mate. Bathurst 1000, first Bathurst 1000 that you have done, and you were silly enough to get none other than myself to drive with you. So after the first Bathurst 1000, you rethinking that now, mate?
No, we both made mistakes, but luckily with our half and half livery that we had, we managed to only wreck our own side of the car, so it was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was actually. It was.
It was great fun. Yeah, any time that you need a co-driver, I'm happy to jump back in the car with you.
Yeah, no, it was good, mate. And then you jumped across to dirt in the supercar, and I know we're here for the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries, but for anyone tuning in on the InterSim Esports Network, there is a new league joining up, which is the Sky Point Dirt Oval Series, which is supercars on dirt ovals, which is a little bit different, and most people would think, oh, what are you doing? Like, that's not going to work. But how'd you find that today, mate? It's something different. I'll tell you what, it's a hell of fun.
Yeah, it definitely is. Slick tyres on a supercar on dirt, you don't think mixes, and it probably doesn't for the first 5-10 laps. But once those tyres warm up and the track comes in, they're super fun.
Yeah, they definitely are, mate. It's a hell of fun. But, mate, back to the motor race. You are now, if I'm looking at the live timing, you're in the 9th position. A little bit behind the lead of the motor race, probably sitting about 6 or 7 seconds off the lead of the motor race. We do have Andy Barber in behind you at the moment. No surprise to have Andy Barber in your mirrors. You've had him in the mirrors pretty much all day. How's the 27 Midnight Sim Racing car feeling, and how are you looking at the end of this one?
Yeah, it's feeling strong. I might have come in a couple of laps early, so I've been saving fuel most of this run. But got old mate Blake in front of me now helping me with that. So hopefully we can make it to the end. At the moment I'm pretty borderline though, so we'll see how we go.
No worries, mate. Well, thanks for making yourself available here on the InterSim Esports Network. We'll let you jump up with none other than the B, and we hope to be talking to you at the end of the broadcast, mate. Best of luck.
All right, too easy. Catch you later.
Well, I just need to find his channel here, Ryan, so bear with me, because I should have probably looked at that. 2. Yeah, Race Channel 2. Yeah, got that. No worries. All right, so on board there with none other than Jai Schultz. He's a good bloke. See what a gentleman he is. It must be in the Schultz last name, mate. But we're back on board with none other than your old man, Andy Barber, up into 10th position. Started out of 19th, is into 10th, so he's inside the top 10 now with 24 to go, and he's moving his way forward when it comes to money time here for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. And he's got Aaron Bryan in behind him from Simboys Racing. So these guys are really going to want to work together to try and bridge that gap on the guys in front. Just a little bit further up the road from this little battle, though, is Troy Davison, Tom Pritchard and Todd Maxfield. So they've got a little bit of a gap on the rest, and then it's a further 8 seconds to Adam Malone in 4th. Adam Malone, though, if we can go to Adam Malone, he has bridged the gap. No, he hasn't bridged the gap. He's 8 seconds behind Raymond Yeager at the moment. So I misread my live timing there. Sorry, Pete, the man behind the cameras. So Raymond Yeager is about 8 seconds up the road from Adam Malone, who's he's got Christopher Finlay, Troy Davison, Todd Pritchard and Todd Maxfield in behind him. But on board with Raymond Yeager now, he is in the 3rd position. He was the winner of round number 1. We're 112 into 134. In the 3rd position, he's now bridged that gap back to Scott Rankin. It's now 0.4 of a second. But if you don't mind, Ryan, I'm having a look at my live timing. About 10 minutes ago, Darren McKenzie had 8 seconds at the front of this motor race on Scott Rankin and Raymond Yeager. It's now down to 5.6 seconds. So Indy Autosports of Scott Rankin and Pinnacle Esports or Raymond Yeager, as Raymond has a Pinnacle Esports teammate there a lap down, just going to help him with the draft. They're slowly ranging up onto the back of Darren McKenzie, 114 into 134. With 20 to go, does Darren McKenzie have enough gap to hold on to get the race win for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries?
It's pretty tight at the moment. Raymond Yeager's closing his gap to Scott Rankin, and of course Scott Rankin is starting the closest gap up to Darren McKenzie. So Darren's definitely going to be trying his best to keep the lead at the moment. I'm not going to throw him under the bus tonight. So they're definitely going to be trying to get to the end. As there's been 2 drivers, I think, that have both said that they'll be trying to make it to the end, and they aren't really sure whether they have enough fuel to get to the end of the race. So it's definitely a big fuel game now. They don't necessarily need to worry about tyres. They just got to be careful with them. So it's definitely a big strategy game at the moment. So we'll see what happens with Darren McKenzie and Scott Rankin and Raymond Yeager.
And Raymond Yeager's just got the job done on Scott Rankin, so his teammate there just helped him to push up in that draft and get the job done on Scott Rankin. So there's been a change now for the 2nd and 3rd position in this motor race, and Raymond Yeager looking to use the inside line, so he's saved a little bit early in this stint. We'll just keep an eye on the gap at the front between himself and Darren McKenzie. It's now going out and out. It's over 6 seconds. There was a car in the wall that I've heard in my ear, so hasn't brought out the caution so far. But Raymond Yeager, after coming off we're caution, 117 into 134. We have gone caution, Ryan. So this has thrown the cat amongst the pigeons, and this is when Schultze gets loud. 117 into 134. We'll go back to your instant replay and show you what brought out the caution. Cade Donnelly from Simboys with a big lick on the outside wall. He's done the right thing and pulled it down to the inside, but just stopping the car there on the apron has brought out the caution, and Cade Donnelly's not going to be happy with that one. So we'll see whether we can have a chat with Cade. He's not in the Discord anywhere at the moment. We'll see whether we can have a chat with him. No, we're not going to be able to. So, Cade, if you are watching the broadcast, mate, feel free to jump in and have a chat with us. But Raymond Yeager's taken the lead, and Darren McKenzie, not sure where he went, mate, because Raymond Yeager's taken the lead while we're watching that instant replay, and Darren McKenzie's gone baking to 10th position. So, interesting one there. Not sure. We'll be sure to have a chat with Darren while we're under caution. He's going into pit lane this time around. So obviously that's all going to play out. We'll see what happens. Oh no, he did pit. He pitted earlier. So he saw the caution come out and he pit earlier. So this is going to work really well for Darren McKenzie, I'd suggest. But Ryan, Darren McKenzie, obviously we were worried about fuel. Well, we spoke to Jai Schultz earlier and he said he was worried about fuel, but Darren McKenzie obviously was as well. As now we're 118 into 134, and his first opportunity came into pit lane. We'll just have a look. Yeah, he's been through pit lane 3 times, so he just did a little bit of a splash and dash, and good strategy there by Darren.
Yeah, the strategy on the end's definitely the strategy, and the driver's not being sure whether they're going to be making it to the end is completely thrown away now. So it's going to be, by the time the safety car comes in, it's going to be a 15-lap sprint to the end. So we're going to see some pretty good battles, some pretty some door banging, and they'll be trying to fight this race out to the final lap.
100%, and safety cars breed safety cars, as they usually say in the motorsport world. So we've gone 118 laps into 134 with just the 2 safety car interventions tonight, but don't be surprised if we see another one, as these guys are going to go 2 or 3 wide here around Kansas Motor Speedway when we do go green once again. Troy Davidson, though, he thinks he can get to the end. He hasn't come through pit lane. Let's bring the man Darren McKenzie up into the broadcast booth. He's going to hate every single moment of this, but we're going to do it because I can. So we bring him up into the booth, and we've got DMAC Darren McKenzie, the 02 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry, up here in the Intersim Esports Network broadcast booth. Darren McKenzie, mate, Schultze and Ryan in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, good evening, guys.
Good evening, mate. Good race from you, mate. I'm sure you didn't want to see that yellow leading by 6 seconds, mate.
No, I didn't. I wanted to pit under green. I know there's a couple of fellas that got the fuel strategy right. They're good to go to the end, even if we didn't have the yellow. So it kind of threw their race out the window. But yeah, I'm back in with a shot now. P6 off the restart, and yeah, hopefully I can move my way forward again.
Well, Ryan, we'll let you jump across with Darren, your teammate in the sim world. I've done enough talking tonight. We did speak to Jai earlier on the broadcast, and we know fuel was going to be a little bit of an issue. I'll let you have a little bit of a chat to Darren and talk to him about his strategy and how his race has gone so far.
Hey, g'day D-Mac. Yeah, I've just noticed that Tom and Adam are sitting there in second and third. So, what chances do you think to have a Southern Stars 1, 2, 3 here tonight?
They're looking pretty good at the moment. There's a few good drivers up here still, though. So, 14 lap sprint? It's going to be a good finish. So, be good for the broadcast, I think.
Well, mate, we're going to have to cut you off, Ryan. Sorry to cut you off, but D-Mac's just making his way down the back straight, and they're about to go green for what's going to be a frantic 14 laps. So, Darren, thanks for making yourself available here on the InterSim Esports Network. We'll let you settle back into the 02 Southern Stars Esports racing car, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end of the broadcast.
Thank you.
So there we go, Ryan. Sorry about cutting you off there, mate. I just saw them gridding up, ready to go green here, and it will be Troy Davidson and Tom Pritchard. Southern Stars Esports racing outside front row. Sim Boys racing inside front row. Adam Malone, Southern Stars inside third row. Christopher Finlay, Sim Boys outside front row. Then another Sim Boys are Todd Maxfield and Southern Stars third row. We're going to go green here. We've got 14 laps to go here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by My Private Seller, and we're green and we're already 4 wide into turn number 1 of the Kansas Motor Speedway. Who's going to get the better here? Jai Schultz looking racy there on the outside. He had a little bit of a poke on the inside of, I think that was Christopher Finlay, and we are 3 wide down the back straight, and we are green. This is amazing, Ryan. 3 wide. Look at this racing. Sim Boys have now got the jump. Christopher Finlay and Troy Davidson have got the jump over Tom Pritchard. Darren McKenzie's gone. My time to go, boys. I'm coming, and I'm up the inside into turn number 1 and 2, and Scott Rankin's around down the main straight here, and we're cautioned for the 3rd time tonight, Ryan.
Yeah, like you said before, cautions do breed cautions, and that's what's happened at the moment. So this is definitely going to mix it up, and they're definitely going to be racing harder. So it's going to be a Christopher Finlay, Troy Davidson. Looks like it will be
Darren McKenzie out of 3.
Yep. And then Tom Pritchard out of 4. So it's definitely a Sim Boys racing and Southern Stars racing race to the end here as they do take up the 1st and 2nd row.
Yes, it does, but I tell you what, don't write off 27 of Jai Schultz as we go back to your instant replay. It just sort of went out of our picture there. Have a look at those pictures of the cars. Oh, Scott Rankin being fed then. Absolutely nowhere to go for the preceding driver there, and then Brett Campbell just finishes it off there. So unfortunate incident there from the Indy Autosports number 15 of Scott Rankin. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, 123 and 134. Let's bring another driver up into the booth. I'm going to throw him under the bus because that's what I do here on the InterSim Esports Network. And under the bus goes PJ, Paul Walker Jackson. Paul Jackson, mate, up into the broadcast booth, mate. P10 at the moment. A little bit of a quiet night early, coming off a P4 for round number 1, fighting for a podium position provisionally early on in this race. Sitting in P10 at the moment, Aotearoa 231. I hope I pronounced that correctly. How are you feeling tonight, mate?
I was close enough, but yeah, I started from pit lane, so I gave myself a little bit of a challenge there, and was just pacing around early for the first sort of 8 laps, and then put the boot down and managed to catch up to the back of the field, and then yeah, I was gaining on Tristan there, and then that first caution come out, so that sort of set us back into the pack. So that timed it well, and had a lot of tyre still under the car, so that's why I just could put the boot down on the restart and sort of found myself up into that sort of podium spot, second, third spot there for a while and just running around. And then a pit stop under the caution just before, I had the kids come and bug me there, so they're having a bit of a bad night while I'm racing and a bit distracted there, so completely missed my pit stop there and fell back a bit. So
well, you're doing a good job there in P10 anyway, mate, as Christopher Finlay does the fake into pit lane. Don't know what he's trying to fool there, but up into P10, coming off around fourth position in round number 1, usually behind the cameras here on the InterSim Esports Network. You were bragging that you were going to do well here because you thought you were a master of the supercar around ovals. And I tell you what, I give you a lot of crap, but mate, you're doing a great job. P4 round number 1, in P10 at the moment for round number 2, and I know there's a long way to go. There's only 9 laps to go, but it's anyone's here for round number 2 around Kansas.
Well, I think it was actually P7 for round 1, but
we'll give you 4.
Yeah, I'll take 4 any day of the week, but podium would be nice. But yeah, there's a few guys in front that just aren't quite running that fast pace, so it's a bit of a minefield to try and dodge and get through and make our way to the front. So sort of aiming for a top 5 anyway tonight, so that'd be nice.
Well, we'll throw you under the bus again, mate. You'll jump out of the car and we'll go broadcasting again together. What's coming up on the InterSim Esports Network, mate? What have we got? Usually I'll do that as a commentator, but what have we got coming up, mate? And what have we got to look forward to here on the InterSim Esports Network?
Well, Tuesday night, I think, is round 1 of the Blendline Procar E-Championships. I don't know if they've renamed that, but I believe they're running the TCR cars possibly this season instead of the Porsche Cup cars. And then on the Wednesday night, we go to the MSR TCR League for round 2. So I'll let you run through those tracks because my brain's not working at the moment as I'm focusing here. But yeah, 1 to go. We'll see what we can pull out tonight.
No worries at all, mate. We'll jump you back up with Barry. A bit of a hard luck story for Barry tonight. Caught in that incident with Mr. Brett Campbell. So unfortunate night for him, mate. But we'll let you jump in, strap those belts down, and hopefully we're talking to you here on the broadcast booth with the podium tonight.
All right, boys. Thanks.
Well, there we go, Ryan. None other than the Mr. Paul Jackson, ready to go green here for hopefully what is the final time tonight. Sarah K. Yesberg tuning into the broadcast. I feel like I'm holding my breath watching this. I tell you what, if you're holding your breath, I tell you what, I am too. 126 into 134. It's going to be an 8-lap sprint, and it will be Christopher Finlay and Troy Davidson leading the way off the pole here, off the front row, for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. It's an all Southern Stars Esports Racing second row, Darren McKenzie and Tom Pritchard. And then we have Raymond Yeager, your round 1 winner. So we're now in the hands of Christopher Finlay. We're waiting for the green, and we're green here again for the 3rd time tonight. Will this decide the winner for round number 2 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries? Christopher Finlay with a good jump there off the pole. Darren McKenzie making a run down the inside of Troy Davidson down through turns number 1 and 2. He's going to get a great run as Christopher Finlay's gone into Raymond Yeager down the back straight. They've kept it going, and we're still green here at Kansas Motor Speedway, but that's given the jump to Darren McKenzie. Troy Davidson is leading the way as well. Jai Schultz just getting caught on the inside line there as we've got the drivers going around the outside. So, yeah, just catch up with me, Ryan. I'm getting too excited. Jai Schultz just getting caught out there on the inside. But have a look at that. Tom Pritchard up into the 3rd position around the outside. Darren McKenzie now having a little bit of attention by Troy Davidson, trying to make the move for the lead of the motor race through turns number 3 and 4, and he's going to get that job done. So Darren McKenzie's not going to like that one. He's going to want to return the favour as we're 128 into 134, and we're too wide down the main straight of Kansas Motor Speedway, Ryan.
Yeah, this is an awesome battle. I can't even sit still. I know that you aren't either. So Darren McKenzie's going to be chasing down Troy Davidson here, and Tom Pritchard, Adam Malona, both both are going to be hunting down for Troy, but you can't call off Aiden Schultz, not Aiden Schultz, I wish you were in the race, but Jai Schultz is sitting in 5th position. He's going to be hangry for podium position tonight, so this is exciting.
It is exciting. He's the better of the Schultzes, as he says, the lesser of the Schultz, but you can see him trying to get the job done on Tom Pritchard there. Darren McKenzie really staying fast there on the outside line, really trying to get the job done around Troy Davidson. Troy Davidson, no stranger to the broadcast booth after a couple of wins for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and he's definitely having a good run at that tonight as Darren McKenzie makes it too wide again down the main straight. Have a look at who's ranging up in the background. The number 4 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry, Adam Malone. He is a man on a mission. He's been there or thereabouts all night. He's stuck on the inside line. He can't help his teammate on the outside line as Jai Schultz is the man to do that into turn number 3 and 4 at Kansas Motor Speedway. Troy Davidson just doing a good job on the inside line. He's really got a good run there as Darren McKenzie drops down and goes, there you go, Adam, there's a little bit of a chop off for you from my teammate. And he pops straight back up to the outside line and tries to get the job done once again through turns number 3, 1 and 2. So we're 132 into 134. It's anyone's as they make their way down the back straight for the 3rd last time tonight. Darren McKenzie trying to get the job done on the outside of Troy Davidson. He can't quite get that job done. He's losing through 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 he gets a really good run. So what's Darren McKenzie going to do different to try and get the move done for the lead of this motor race? Troy Davidson's in the box seat at the moment, as he has Adam Malone right in behind him. We've got 2 to go, ladies and gentlemen. Who's going to win this one? Will it be Troy Davidson, Darren McKenzie, Adam Malone? Can Jai Schultz from Midline Sim Racing jump up and do an absolute solid move and try and get the win of this one? Troy Davidson is in the box seat at the moment. He's looking at the cars right behind him. We're about to go white flag here for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries, and we're 3 wide down the main straight here at Kansas with Troy Davidson making their way down into turns number 1 and 2. It's Troy Davidson's to lose. Southern Stars Esports Racing 2 and 3 as we make their way onto the back straight for the final time tonight. Darren McKenzie still trying to get that outside line to work. Adam Malone up the inside. Will he get the job done? Look who's there. There's Paul Jackson trying to make a move for a podium as well. Are we going to get contact? We're going down. We're going to go 3 wide. There's contact and they make their way across the line. And it's Troy Davidson who comes away with the win from the Sim Boys Racing entries. And Troy Davidson with another win. Adam Malone and Darren McKenzie with a Southern Stars Esports Racing 2 and 3. And a Southern Stars Esports Racing 4 with Tom Pritchard there, if you don't mind. And Paul Jackson in 5th. I tell you what, Ryan, I hope I did that justice. I'm sorry you couldn't get a word in edgeways, but how good was that?
That was amazing. And yeah, I would not have even been able to get a word in yet because I was speechless. Like, wow, no words. Wow.
It is amazing. And I tell you what, as Troy Davidson does some celebratory donuts there, how good is the Australasian Supercar eSeries? We've been live now for an hour and a half of racing, and we always know 134 laps. You might get excited 20 laps in, but 134 laps in a late safety car, that always helps. I tell you what.
Yeah, it was exciting first 20 laps, but there's nothing more exciting than the final 20. So yeah, Troy Davidson's enjoying his burnouts there. Definitely going to be soaking that one in. So yeah, he'll be coming into round 3 as the race winner of round 2 of Kansas and the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Oh, I can't breathe. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we see the people tuning into the chat at the moment. We see your mum, Kylie, tuning into the chat. She says, holy crap, that's tense. And my heart rate. So, Kylie, thanks for tuning in. And I tell you what, your son did a sensational job in the broadcast booth with me tonight. I hope you enjoyed all the action as much as we did, because it was an absolute pleasure bringing it to you. And Sarah K. Yesberg, oh my God, that was close. It was. And that's what the Australasian Supercar eSeries brings to you. And so we go through your final standings here for round number 2 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by My Private Seller. So Troy Davidson comes home with the chockies tonight. Adam Malone in P2 and Darren McKenzie in P number 3. Tom Pritchard will finish in the 4th position with Paul Jackson. Another solid result tonight in P number 5. Ruben Phelps in P6, Todd Maxfield in P7, Stephen Williams from DPRSimrigs.com in P8. Andy Barber comes home in 9th position with Christopher Finlay in 10th. Jai Schultz in 11th, Ash Nesser and Blake Urquhart in 12th and 13th. Raymond Yeager in 14th, last week's winner. He's going to have a lot to do going into round number 3. Pete Matson in 15th, Aaron Bryan in 16th, Aaron Dillon in 17th, and Nicholas Walsh in the 18th position as we go across the page. In 19th position tonight was Gary Wellman with Tristan Koch in the 20th position. Scott Rankin with a night that what could have been in the 21st. Greg Spencer in 22nd. Kobe Jordan in 23rd. John Quass in 24th and Brett Campbell in the 21st position tonight. Barry Neal in the 26th. Cade Donnelly 27th. Nigel Payton in 28th. Your two-time reigning champion and defending champion with a night that what could have been 95 laps down in 29th. And Philip Howe rounding out your 30 starters tonight. So what an amazing race. We're just waiting for all the drivers to get down into the green room so we can bring you the post-race comments from them as we go back to an instant replay of this finish and just show you what it looked like. And I tell you what, Ryan, I know you're speechless, but the skill of these guys, exactly as Kylie just said, how's the skill of these guys? The skill of these guys to be able to race so close in close quarters at 300 kilometers an hour in a supercar, it's just next level.
Yeah, these guys have crazy amounts of skills, so yeah, definitely can't speak. Yeah, they were definitely flying today.
They definitely were. So we're just going to move the guys up into the broadcast booth because they didn't help us by hopping down into the green room, and they're our teammates. So we're going to have a little bit of a chat about that afterwards. I'll tell you what, throwing us under the bus. But we will talk to your top 3 place getters tonight. And first and foremost, your third place getter tonight, the 02 Sunstars Esports Racing entry of Darren McKenzie. Darren, we spoke to you before we went green again. You were quietly confident. I tell you what, did you have as much fun in the driver's seat as we did calling it there in those final 6 laps?
Oh yeah, I was having a ball. It's the car had pace. I got through the middle early before that second caution, and was set up in third. So it was in a good spot for that last restart. But Troy defended well. He was not letting me down under that low line, so I had to try to look around the high line and had nothing left for him at the end.
Well, I was just about to mention that, Darren, because I was saying on the broadcast, and if you watch it back, you're really trying to get that high line work. It worked well through 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, it just didn't work as much as you probably would have liked. And obviously, he wasn't going to try and let you get down underneath him. So, and you were probably in a bad position there with your teammate of Adam Malone, who come home second tonight. Wasn't able to help you there up on the outside line. So it was pretty much every man to himself. So, yeah, how do you feel there? You're trying to get the job done. It looked like you were quicker through 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, you were just losing a little bit too much.
Yeah, before Adam got down under me, I was swinging down out of 3 and 4 to exit out of 4 down low behind Troy. But once Adam got down there, I knew I had to stay high those towards the mid to high on the last couple of laps. And yeah, that's what made it interesting. It was a hell of a finish there.
Well, Ryan, over to you, mate. Have a chat with D-Mac.
Yeah, we were speaking earlier about the possibilities of a 1-2-3 for the Southern Stars, so that was pretty close. The Sim Boys driver of Troy Davidson said no thanks, I'll take the win for that. So how are you feeling after the effort you put in tonight?
I think the team done an awesome job tonight. 2, 3, 4 and 9th. You can't ask for any better than that. All 4 of us in the top 10 there.
Yeah, certainly. It was definitely a result that I got excited for, and it was very close at the end there. And yeah, Jai and I were watching, not Jai and I, Aiden and I were watching Jai really closely too, and he was trying to get in the mix there. So yeah, glad you guys had an awesome race, and congratulations for 3rd place.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Darren, real quickly before we let you go, mate, P2 here, P3 rather here for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. But we go to the land that you are very fond of next week for round number 3, and it's none other than the Daytona International Speedway. So, mate, you've got to be confident moving into round number 3 for a nice solid result there. And a man that loves his Daytona International Speedway and actually had one of the best races we ever called for your late son last year. I'm sure you're going to be wanting to back that up next week at Daytona and get another super speedway win.
Yeah, that's Daytona's got a lot of good memories. Had a few wins there, but supercars, it's a bit of a different ball game. It's a lot more close, back and forth racing. So yeah, anything can happen. You can be sitting first 1 second and 10th the next in supercar. So it should make for a good race again.
Well, Darren McKenzie, P3 tonight, mate. Big shout out to all those sponsors and everyone involved to help you get the job done tonight.
Yeah, we've got SkyPoint, Tiona Holiday Park, and Mish's XL Garage. They all support us and help the team, so thank you to them.
No worries at all, mate. Ladies and gentlemen, your third place getter tonight, the 02 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry of Darren McKenzie. Moves us straight across to your second place getter tonight. I tell you what, this man's got to slow down a bit because he's used to winning stuff lately. The number 4 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry, Adam Malone. Adsy, mate, good evening to you. P number 2. Yeah, boy, you got to be happy with that one.
Oh, yeah, stoked about it, mate. Can't be more happier.
Well, mate, you ran a faultless race tonight. You were up there early. You were just sort of biding your time, doing your thing. And when it come to go time, you really had a lot of pace in that number 4 car. And unfortunately, you weren't able to work with your teammate there to try and help out to have anything for Davo. But a nice solid result there in P number 2. And I tell you what, we talked a little bit about the Dirt Series and you're absolutely owning us there as well. So, mate, you've hit a switch and got a bit of pace in the number 4 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry lately.
Yeah, mate, I was just really trying to take it easy there in that second stint, trying to save tyres, fuel. Yeah, I just gave it all I had in that last little stint there, and got that yellow at the end, bunched everyone back up, and yeah, just made it hard to work with Darren at the end there.
Well, mate, I'm more happy that you beat Paul Jackson. So let's not. That's the story of the night. You beat Paul Jackson, but no, Paul did a good job. But Ryan, over to you, mate. Have a little bit of a chat with Adam.
Yeah, Adam, you've been kicking everyone's butt with the Supercar Dirt. So obviously you've had a bit of a practice having your top 3 positions in the Dirt. So. How does this really transition from dirt to tarmac?
Oh, totally 2 different ball games there, mate. With the dirt, you just got to keep practicing and a bit of luck, really. And tarmac, it's just, yeah, a bit of luck there too. So, yeah.
Yeah, you've definitely shown that you're quick on both. So, yeah, over to you, Aiden.
Well, I'm thinking I've got to get behind the mic, and I was going to say I'm going to have to put you back in your place, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that, mate. Being my teammate, I think you got me covered, mate. But P2 tonight, sensational drive. Really good to see you get a nice solid result here for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. We'll give you a chance to have a big shout out to all those sponsors and everyone involved that got you to the P2 tonight.
Yeah, we got Tiona Holiday Park, Mishi XL Garage, SkyPoint, and the Southern Star Boys.
No worries at all. We'll let you jump up with the boys and get a bit of that virtual champagne and spray it around, mate, and celebrate what was a 2 and 3 for the Southern Stars Esports Racing entries. But ladies and gentlemen, your second place getter here for round number 2 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by My Private Seller. It was the number 4 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry of Adam Malone. But now we go to the man of the moment, Davo, Troy Davidson. No stranger here to the broadcast booth, mate. You're making a habit of this, mate. You got the W again tonight. Not the night for some of the Sim Boys cars that they would have wanted, but, mate, stellar drive to hold off Darren McKenzie, Adam Malone, Paul Jackson, and Tom Pritchard there at the end of that one.
Yeah, geez, Aiden. Yeah, sort of came a bit unexpected tonight, really. It was sort of pretty hotly contested throughout most of the race, and I sort of first sort of stint, I knew it might have come down to fuel a little bit, but it didn't look too bad from the outset, from the start. But tyres, I knew would sort of come a factor as well. But then sort of in the last stint, I just me and Chris had to take in turns. We sort of caught in no man's land a little bit. We had gonna make it on fuel, and that would have put us in a good position. But we just was right on the cuff sort of thing. And I seen, just when that last yellow came in, I seen Darren McKenzie and a few of the guys had to come in, and that sort of brought those guys back into the hunt for the final sort of dash to the finish line. I knew she was going to be hotly contested then.
Well, she definitely was. And, mate, you're no stranger to Supercar. I actually had a run against you the other night in the Global iRacing League Supercar Series, mate. We had a good little ding-dong battle just outside of the top 10 there, so that was a bit of fun. Yeah,
it was, mate. It was a good bit of fun. Put some laps together. I think we're both sort of similar in that. We're trying to improve a little. We're sort of getting there a bit, but some good guys in that league.
Oh, mate, I tell you what, try and improve. Mate, I reckon we can improve 10 times and we'll still probably be 10th. But, mate, it was amazing. It was good to have a good battle with you. Mate, P1 tonight, though, you're doing something right in these cars because you've had a couple of P1s lately. That's going to help you with your championship position. I know you guys and the Sim Boys Racing guys, who's expanded their team recently, love the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by My Private Seller. And it just goes to show another P1, another podium for Sim Boys Racing. And, mate, you got to be proud of what the team's doing because, you know, you guys are going next level in what you're doing at the moment. The quality of racing you're doing, constant podiums, always up there to fight for the race win and hopefully to fight for a championship for the first time this season.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's I don't know what it is with this series. Something seems to click with us, and I think like any sort of oval race, you got to keep out of trouble. And there's a bit of strategy that seems to happen every race with this series. You just got to watch that fuel and the tyres. But yeah, it's definitely on the cards for a few of us. I think the championship sort of, with which are sort of taking the last two out. It's made us pretty keen to sort of see if we can get one of us up the top. That's for sure.
Well, funny you say that, and I'll hand you over to Ryan in a second, but Justin Witchy, a reigning two-time champion and defending champion, unfortunate night tonight, finishing down in about the 20th position, about 90 laps down after a big incident early. So no road courses this season for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. So you mentioned Justin Witcher. He's definitely not going to have it all his own way here for season number 3.
Yeah, that's it. He hasn't had the best of start, and I think Gaza, our teammate as well, he's had a bit of a bad couple, but it can change so quick in this series. I think just like I say, any oval series, you can sort of one or two bad races in a row and you're back in the fold sort of thing. So I think that's, one of the main things is just trying to keep your nose clean and stay out of all the trouble.
Well, I need to make a quick mention to Aaron Dillon, old Azza. Mate, he was the inaugural champion of the Supercar Series before it went Australasian Supercar E-Series. I tell you what, he had a bit of pace tonight. I had the pleasure of calling him. Had an unfortunate incident at some stage. I bet you he's absolutely gutted tonight because he's due for another good result here for the Australasian Supercar E-Series.
Yeah, he's always thereabouts still. He's he got unlucky tonight. Him and I think it was either Toddy or Walshy, they both got 40-second time penalty in the pit, so that sort of ruined their race. But other than that, they would have been right up there.
Well, Ryan, I'll hand it over to you before we go through the formalities. Have a little bit of a chat to Davo.
Hey, Troy. Obviously, you won tonight, and just a big congratulations to that. Also, I had a look, and you did get third place last round. How do you feel about the rest of the season and how you and your team can progress?
Yeah, I was sort of thinking I might be not looking too bad. Thanks, Ryan. It's sort of pretty. Now just got to keep my nose clean, like I was saying before. But sort of had all of December off and most of January with a shoulder injury, and I've just sort of come back this last couple of weeks and couldn't be happier at the moment with how it's all started. But long season and definitely got me on the prize sort of thing. But yeah, we'll just got to keep fronting up each week and giving it our best and see how it goes.
Yeah, well, you came back and you're showing everyone how it's done. So, yeah, congratulations for your win tonight.
Cheers, Ryan. Thanks. Yep.
No worries, mate. So, Davo, mate, we'll let you have your shout out. I know we've spoken so many times here on the InterSim Esports Network, and as we said last week, and we say all the time, you don't usually have a lot of shout outs, but I know you do now. A few extra sponsors on board, a lot of other drivers. So, a big shout out to everyone involved and helped you get the job with the Chockies tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, a bit further now than just calling out the Sim Boys, but yeah, as always, the Sim Boys, we great bunch of blokes and love each other's company and racing together. But more to that now, we've got Hot Toddy Heating Stalls and United Electrical, our two main sponsors, and then we've also got sort of Ferris Shifters too, which sort of getting a few shifters through and having a pretty good relationship there. So yeah, a bit more going on now for us for the team.
Well, we're always looking for sponsors here on the InterSim Esports Network too. So if any of those guys want to hit us up, feel free to put our name out there. No pun intended. But anyway, mate, congratulations on your P1 tonight. Absolutely well-deserved and good to see the 023 at the front. And I'm sure it's not going to be the last time we see you here on the broadcast booth for the My Private Sellers Australasian Supercar eSeries. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Your first place getter and winner for round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. It was the 023 Sim Boys Racing entry of Troy Davo Davidson. So that pretty much brings to the end of the broadcast though, Ryan. Now, I tell you what, I'm trying to come down off that because that finish was next level.
Yeah, it was definitely tight, and yeah, I didn't even know who won at that point because there were cars going. Not necessarily everywhere, but there were cars going left, right, and centre. So, yep, congratulations to the top 3. And hopefully next week you guys can pull off the same, if not better.
Yeah, 100%. Look forward to bringing all the action here on the InterSim Esports Network next Friday night for round number 3 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. We're going Super Speedway racing, ladies and gentlemen, and it is from Daytona International Speedway. A lot to bring you here on the InterSim Esports Network. Before we get there, we've got the Pro Car GTE Championship coming up. We have round number 3 of the MSR TCR League coming up as well. Be sure to tune in. Be sure to have a look on our socials, Facebook or YouTube, subscribe, and follow and set your notifications so you don't miss any time we are live here on the InterSim Esports Network. But that brings us to an end for what was round number 2 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries here from Kansas Motor Speedway. Your winner tonight, Troy Davidson, Adam Malone second, Darren McKenzie third. But for myself, Paul, Ryan, and Pete behind the cameras and everyone here at the InterSim Esports Network, we thank you for tuning in and we look forward to seeing you next time.